Welcome back. It's a new week here at the channel, and we've got a lot to cover. We're going to start this morning with some Stranger Things news leading into the start of filming for Season 5. Ladies and gentlemen, why wait any longer? Let's do this. Monkeys, roll the footage. Here we are over at Screen Rant. This article came out a couple days ago. Stranger Things Season 5 should break a long-standing tradition. And we see Mike here, Mike was almost an absentee figure in Season 4 after being, basically the series lead in Season 1 and seeing his role diminished and downplayed throughout the seasons. As we know, in Season 4, he went to California to see Will and Eleven. And Joyce and Jonathan are out there, and we met Argyle, Project Nina, all that goodness in Season 4. But it really took Mike away from Hawkins, and they've made kind of almost a trope in this series of splitting up the team after Season 1 and, putting them in all these different directions. But they use that to take advantage of the new cast members and to pair the new cast members with, pre-existing ones to kind of establish their characters. And I'd say it's worked fairly well, but it has been kind of to the detriment of Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard. Since Stranger Things Season 5 will be the final season of the hugely popular Netflix show, there should be a break from one of the long-standing traditions seen in each previous season. Following the dramatic events of Stranger Things 4, it feels like anything could potentially happen in Stranger Things Season 5. However, the continued existence of Vecna and the opening of the gates between Hawkins and the Upside Down seems sure to have a profound effect on the show's much-loved characters. Of course, there have already been details, theories, and rumors about what will be shown in Stranger Things Season 5. Showrunners, the Duffer Brothers, have already confirmed that there will be a time jump between Seasons 4 and 5, while an expanded role for Will Byers in the fight against Vecna has also been suggested. However, what is clear is that the darker direction of Season 4 is likely to be escalated and cause a further loss of the sense of innocence that the Stranger Things younger characters have always possessed. And we really noticed this between Season, 3 and 4. How much older these guys have gotten, but that was because of the delay in seasons, obviously due to, extenuating external circumstances that, people were falsely adhering to. But anyway, neither here nor there nor anywhere. We see the cast here in their Ghostbusters outfits from Season 2, which was such a cool homage to one of my favorite movies of all time, Ghostbusters. And the kids with their costumes, the two Peter Venkmans, and why Mike was telling Lucas he couldn't be Venkman and he was supposed to be Winston. But yeah, just a really funny scene overall. And yeah, these kids have grown up in front of our eyes. Well, like I said, I came in late to the party here. I just watched the entire series in December. Although I've been aware of its existence and its popularity, I just didn't watch it. It was just one of those shows where I assumed it was 80s nostalgia for the sake of 80s nostalgia, which it wasn't. I mean, this show was so well put together. The Duffer Brothers, Sean Levy, did an excellent job with this. So Season 5 will be the go-home season for this show. And there's a lot of questions left to be answered, and we know there's going to be some big deaths this season, and that's been the point of a lot of pontification. We may make a segment out of this on Monday night, tonight, just to talk about, not a regular segment, that won't happen until the show decides to come back and start airing, which will probably be next year for the go-home season 2024. As it is the story's conclusion, Stranger Things Season 5 will inevitably differ from previous seasons. As a result, there's an opportunity to embrace this difference by breaking with at least one of the show's tradition. Each of Stranger Things' 4 seasons is set around a holiday, with Season 1 taking place in the lead up to Christmas, Season 2 during Halloween, and the events of Season 3 and 4 occurring around the 4th of July and spring break, respectively. Despite Stranger Things Season 5 differences, this trend may continue, although breaking the tradition could prove to be a more impactful choice. This is because it would demonstrate the dire situation in Hawkins and the loss of innocence that happens in the wake of Season 4's ending. Living with the ever-present threat of the open gates to the Upside Down is likely to harden even the younger, more innocent characters. After all, Christmas, Halloween, 4th of July, spring break are all pleasant, fun holidays, especially for children. Effectively removing any of them from the narrative would undoubtedly signal that such childlike fun is no longer something that the heroes of Stranger Things have the luxury of enjoying. Taking the holidays out of the series does definitely raise the stakes emotionally and definitely makes the cast mature and face real-world problems a lot sooner than they probably should have to. But, I mean, these kids have grown up, you know, fighting against creatures, demi-dogs, demi-gorgons, demi-bats, Vecna from the Upside Down, the Mind Flayer. And it just stands to reason that Season 5 would, you know, make the tonally even more dark and serious. Which holiday could Stranger Things 5 use? As we see Steve, our favorite mom and babysitter to the kids. Despite this, there are several viable options if the Duffer Brothers decide to maintain the holiday tradition in Stranger Things Season 5. Thematically, Easter's focus on rebirth may prove a good fit. Equally, the end of evil Vecna could make a Thanksgiving a suitable choice, while repeating the Christmas setting of Season 1 would effectively bring the story full circle. Whatever choice is made, there are undoubtedly benefits to breaking the holiday tradition, but fans will hope that Stranger Things Season 5 can end the series in a way that does justice to the brilliance of what has gone before. If they use Christmas, it does bring the show full circle, but I do like the suggestion of Thanksgiving as well. That could work. There's a lot of things, Easter, rebirth, yes. That's if they want to lean in thematically on that religious aspect of the holiday, which, I mean, in this series they've done. I mean, you look at the Hellfire Club in Season 4 with the way that they had the sweeping disgust for Dungeons & Dragons across the country at that point in the 80s because of rock music and, you know, the false correlation between that and satanic rituals and Satanism and cults. Calling Dungeons & Dragons a cult back then, I mean, how much more puritanical can we get? And I know there's people that, you know, call folks pearl clutchers today, but it's not this. It's nowhere near the same. And the false correlations made are astoundingly like straw man arguments. It's funny. I'd say lean in on Easter. They haven't done an Easter one yet, and it seemingly would fit with the theme of rebirth and ending the series, and hopefully ending this on a high note. I mean, let's not end this on a, you know, Empire Strikes Back type note. The wait for the 5th and final season of Stranger Things is well underway. The anticipation already building to feverish levels for the incredibly popular series. The show was named as 2022's most streamed show and overall program by Nielsen. And now we have a morsel of information about the production of Stranger Things 5, courtesy of star Noah Schnapp. Schnapp, who plays Will Byers on the show, was asked by a fan during an Instagram live session if his schooling would interfere with shooting for the final season of the Netflix series. Schnapp responded that there would be no crossover as he both finishes school and begins production of the 5th season in May of this year. The series is not expected to air on Netflix until sometime in 2024, when the kids in the cast will most likely be married with kids of their own or celebrating retirement. Such as length of time production tends to take. But show creators the Duffer Brothers have teased details of what fans can expect from the final trip to Hawkins, Indiana. The success of Season 1 freaked us out, and when we knew we needed to build up this bigger world, that this was going to be ongoing, said Ross Duffer to Netflix. That meant prep for Season 2 included filling a whiteboard with every idea the writer's room could imagine, but it was way too much. 5 times more ideas than we needed, or 10 times. For Season 5, we're pulling from a lot of those big Season 2 ideas, and a lot of our big ending stuff is pulled from stuff that we thought was going to be in Season 2. Committed fans of this series will be able to recall that the second season was very Will Byers heavy after the first season, when Schnapp was billed as a guest star, focusing on his recovery from spending his prolonged length of time trapped in the Upside Down by the Mind Flayer, as well as his perennial connection to the creature. In addition, the second season also further explored the mysterious past of Eleven, which was expanded upon in Season 4, specifically her time being brought up in Hawkins' laboratory as an experimental project. That included her relationship with Henry Creel, who, via a demonstration of her precocious power, she sent into the Upside Down, banishing him there, but in turn transforming him into the terrifying creature Vecna, who spent the entire 4th season haunting and terrorizing the young people of Hawkins. This season, of course, ended with the Upside Down beginning to bleed into Hawkins and the cracks quite literally appearing between the two worlds, leaving our heroes facing the battle of their lives. So there's a lot to unpack there. Will Byers being, you know, kind of pushed to the back after being such an integral part of the story. And he's always been like a centerpiece as far as I'm concerned, because he was the first one taken. The first season was about finding him. The second season was recovery. You know, Max was introduced. There are a lot of storylines everywhere, but I really think that they need to kind of tighten it back up and focus on that main cast. But we're also talking about people like Steve Harrington and Nancy and Jonathan and Hopper and Joyce. There's a lot going on, a lot to handle, new characters, Erica, of course, Lucas's little sister. What's going to happen with Susie and Dustin? And speaking of Dustin, Stranger Things Season 5 still has a big Dustin mystery to solve. This article came out a while ago, but I just wanted to talk about it briefly here. They really haven't filled in much of the background with Dustin's family, and his mom didn't really even get introduced, as the article said, until Season 2. We don't know his father's situation. If they want to leave that ambiguous, that's okay. But, I mean, there's a lot of fans that really want to know, and it really speaks volumes to Steve and Eddie's characters and how they kind of mentored him, especially Steve with Dustin. When they brought those two characters together, when everybody kind of went their own ways in Season 2 and Dustin he was getting back from camp nowhere, it was very, very heartwarming to see Steve and him just kind of click and hit it off. And then Steve becomes so protective to not only Dustin, but all the other younger characters as well. Very nice arc, but we want some of Dustin's background fleshed out. The big question for a lot of fans is what happened to Dustin Henderson's dad in Stranger Things. Across 4 seasons of Stranger Things, the series has never once addressed Dustin's dad. Considering the relationships between fathers and their children is one of the biggest underlying themes in the Stranger Things story, leaving Dustin and his dad out of the equation is a mistake. Stranger Things hasn't given any indication about whether Dustin's father is dead or still in his life, whether he was heavily involved in Dustin's upbringing, or if he abandoned the family in Stranger Things Season 1's timeline. The only detail known about Dustin's dad is his last name is Henderson. While he's never actually introduced, the cast for Stranger Things Season 1, Episode 5, The Flea and the Acrobat, credits Daniel Gutenberg as Mr. Henderson as he seemingly attends Will's funeral with Dustin and Claudia. Still, he's never been mentioned again. It's unclear whether his appearance in Stranger Things Season 1 will be retconned later in the series. What happened to Dustin's father remained one of the Stranger Things' biggest unanswered questions, and it's one that needs to be addressed in order to properly conclude Dustin's story. Stranger Things Season 1 revealed Dustin moved to Hawkins in 4th grade, so it's possible that he and his mom left their old town and his parents subsequently divorced. However, this still doesn't explain why Dustin's dad hasn't been mentioned on one single occasion. Within Stranger Things' timeline, it's been 3 years since Mr. Henderson appeared, and he was never included in any of Season 2's scenes at the Henderson home or in Season 4 when all the adults gathered to question Dustin, Lucas, and Max at Nancy and Mike's parents' house. The only explanations could be that Dustin's dad left town, divorced Claudia, or died after Season 1 if his appearance hasn't been retconned. Everything Stranger Things has revealed about Dustin's family. Dustin's mom and her cats are the only members of the Henderson family that we've been introduced to. And we know what happened to Muse. The Demodog, Dart, ate him. Thanks, Dustin. Stranger Things already has Dustin's perfect father figure, and you see it right here.
Henderson.
While a lot of people want to call Steve the mom, no, he has been a excellent father figure for Dustin since Season 2. And Joe Keery should really, really be proud of his work, because his performance and I know it's written dialogue and everything is scripted, but you can only do so much with what you're provided. It's the actor who brings it to life, and Joe Keery really made us love Steve's character, love the character of Steve, and really want to see him survive. And there's been so many times when I was watching the show, upon my first viewing, I'm on my second now, where I was legitimately nervous for Steve, because I'm like, oh God, they're going to kill him off, because they're in the process of redeeming him, and once he reaches his full redemption, they'll kill him, because that's what a lot of these series do. And it's to the detriment of the series in a lot of the time, because you're like, oh, well, he's had his full arc. We don't have anything else for him to do. Let's just kill him off now. It doesn't make sense to me. But no, Steve is the perfect father figure for Dustin. So if we don't get any further explanation, I would say that's perfectly fine.
How do I know if it's not a lizard?
How do you know if it's not just a lizard?
Because his face opened up and he ate my cat.
There you have it, folks. That is about all the Stranger Things news I have for right now. Season 5 is going to start shooting in May. It's not going to air until 2024. There's a lot of things up in the air, a lot of questions. Who's going to live? Who's going to die? Is there going to be spin-offs? And Gaten Matarazzo, the actor that plays Dustin, had spoke to the potential last April of a spin-off series with him and Steve. Now, while a lot of fans are going to be like, yes, that sounds great, you have to really look at it in a broader scope. Is that a sustainable formula for a series? Or is it just a one-off, kind of thing? Maybe if it was like a mini series, like, 15-minute episodes, once a week for like, 4, 5, 6 weeks, okay. But a full, hour episode of just those two. Now, I'm not saying they're not a great combination. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying, is that sustainable as a show? Is there enough material for them to do? What are you going to do? Why are there no other characters in it? If there isn't going to be. So these are all things to consider when you're thinking about the possibility of the spin-offs for this show, as great as it may be. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Please support the channel. YouTube is not being kind to me right now, or us here at the channel at all. If you're so inclined to support the channel, please do. And if the least you can do is subscribe, just hit the subscribe button. Ding the bell for notifications. We truly appreciate it. I'm Etepelkuian of The Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of you. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you in the Upside Down.
Self-high five.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
I could do this all day.
This doesn't bode well.
You're lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa.
It's a waste of good suffering.